Class is in session. This is the Draft Seminar Rookie Profile Series hosted by Matt Hicks, the FF Educator, and I am joined, as always, by John Laub, the Gridiron Scholar. And this is a My Guy episode. It's Kyren Williams, the running back out of Notre Dame, and I am fired up to talk about this guy. Before we jump into it, I want to make sure you know that the entire Rookie Profile series will be simulcast here on the Rookie Big Board YouTube channel, the Rookie Big Board podcast channel, and of course on the NFL Draft Bible podcast network. You can catch all of John's work at footballdiehards.com, and you can check out all of my work, including the 2022 Rookie Big Board, at patreon.com/the FF Educator. John, no further waiting. Let's start pining about the Notre Dame running back, Kyren Williams.
Before we came on the show, I teased Matt with a comp. And I'm just going to start the show off with this because I have fallen in love with Kyren Williams more and more as this process has gone along, Matt. When I watch Kyren Williams, two players jump to my mind. Tiki, Barber, and Austin Ekeler.
Ooh.
When I watch him, I see those two players. And if you're not old enough to have seen Tiki Barber, everyone, go watch some tape. Tiki Barber, in my book, is the greatest all-time underrated running back. He was unbelievable. Matt, he'd be the number one pick in the fantasy draft if he was playing today, if you look at his peak performance. That's what I see when I watch Kyren Williams. He's electric. He is unbelievable. I know he's listed at 5'9", 199. I don't care. You know I'm a guy for size. I've said it a lot. I like my backs big. But you know what? Kyren Williams plays strong. Tiki Barber played strong. I do worry, will it take Kyren a year or two, like Tiki, to get used to the NFL? And even Austin Ekeler didn't pop immediately in San Diego, but now Los Angeles. Let's look at what this young man has done. In the summer of 2020, Kyren Williams is not at the top of the depth chart in Notre Dame. I remember reading about Kyren Williams. They had brought in that star, Chris Tyree, and a lot of people thought Tyree was going to be the starter for the Fighting Irish. Kyren Williams beat him out in training camp. He was one of the best pickups in college fantasy football. I picked him up all over the place and had my listeners on the CFF on campus pick him up. What did he do? In 2020, he was the freshman of the year, freshman All-America, second team All-ACC, ACC Rookie of the Year, and semifinalist for the Doak Walker Award. Remember, Notre Dame played as a member of the ACC because of COVID. Unbelievable performance. Last year in 2021, team captain, finalist, Paul Hornung Award, and Doak Walker Award candidate. What did he do, Matt? He just logged back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns on campus when no one thought that he would do so. And what's amazing, when you look back into this prospect, in high school, he was a four-star recruit who played wide receiver. We're going to get into this. This is a dynamic three-down running back. That's why I mentioned Ekeler and Tiki Barber. He was first-team Missouri football All-State in 2018. I don't even think Coach Kelly knew how good this young man was. Matt, what did your film breakdown discover when you looked under the microscope?
Man, Kyren Williams tape is so fun to watch, John, and it's because he's not bad at anything. Kyren Williams is really good at everything. And John, I mentioned before we went on, I hate comps. I don't make comps. But Kyren Williams, and now my comp doesn't even sound as lofty as yours. And, and I want to point out, John, that even my generation of viewers here knows Tiki Barber, so you didn't beat us on that one. But he reminds me a lot stylistically in between the tackles of Mark Ingram but then give Mark Ingram pass catching ability, really consistent pass catching ability, right? And so there's some really good fantasy football upside there. But let's get into his tape here. It starts here with the strength and the contact balance. He's an aggressive and physical runner. You mentioned that size. I know 195 is an important threshold. I know that most fantasy football backs that are finishing as running back 1s and 2s, top 24 running backs, I know most of them are 210 and up, right? But there are some exceptions here. And sometimes, John, you got to be willing to lean into the exception. And I'm willing to do that because he's aggressive. He's physical. He throws Alabama defenders off of him. Go watch the Alabama tape, 2020 Alabama tape. Throws defenders off of him here. He has the ability to consistently scrap for extra yards. He's got a great stiff arm. You could see the stiff arm on the Purdue tape. Go watch the USC tape. You could see the stiff arm here. And he was an effective lead blocker. Notre Dame in 2020 liked to use Ian Book on design runs, and Kyren Williams would lead block for him. So he's aggressive. You see that contact balance on full display against Purdue here. So if you really want to get hype about Kyren Williams, 2021 Purdue tape, that's what I'm pointing you towards here. Pass catching ability, John. He's a reliable pass catcher. He not only out of the backfield, but again, you go back to that 2020 Alabama tape, he actually lines up in the slot and works off of the nickel DB and creates space on out routes consistently. He's hyper targeted as a check down option at times, no drops, really great hands. And he actually goes up and catches a ball in tight coverage against Purdue. Again, go back to that Purdue tape. Very consistent throughout his tape. Really great pass catching ability. John, I love his vision. He sees the field well. He works really well off of the B gap, recognizes consistently when to cut, which direction to cut into. It feels very effortless when he's working in between the tackles. And he understands when to just put his head down and hit the hole hard and scrap out for extra yards. He's patient, John, but he's not hesitant behind the line of scrimmage. You know, every prospect here, pretty much on the rookie profile series, I give 3 strengths and a weakness. No weakness here because I want to talk about pass blocking, which is also a strength. He aggressively seeks out blitzers. He has a good anchor.
He hurt people.
Yeah. And again, right, this is the guy we're worried about because he's undersized. John, if he goes top 100 in the NFL draft, I would be shocked if he didn't. Then I'm all in on Kyren Williams. I have no hesitations here. So it's a long tape review here, but I got a lot of positive things to say. Let's get more into the numbers, though.
I also want to say one thing. I noticed he's a problem solver. We usually decide like the quarterbacks are problem solvers. I've seen him on tape, Matt, where he was assigned a blitzer. He either hit the blitzer and then went out into a pattern, or there was no blitzer and he faded out and was a great check down option. I mean, this young man does it all. And when you put him in the model, he only played 2 years on campus. He had 2,146 yards. And this is not a 5-star recruit. This young man earned it the hard way. If we could turn back the clock, no one was talking about Kyren Williams at Notre Dame in the summer of 2020. Look at that, Matt. 78 career receptions in 2 years. And Matt, he's not just doing checkdowns. He's running patterns. He's running out of the slot. He's got a nice little diverse tree of catches. And then he's their short yardage back. 31 career touchdowns. He's explosive. He's amazing. And look at this scrimmage yards dominator, 27%, 1,438 yards from scrimmage this season. Matt, there is so much to like. I do have him rated as my 4th back. I do think he'll be early 2nd round selection. Draft capital will decide his final value. But what does the fantasy community need to know about Kyren Williams?
Yeah, John, you said it. I have him here day 2 late, which is that 50 to 102 range. I think that's when the running backs, are actually going to start coming off of the board here. I would not be surprised if no quarterback comes off the board in the top 50 picks or at least the top 40 picks here. So I think Kyren Williams will be in that range where we see the top tier of running backs come off the board here. In terms of the rookie big board, I've got him as a weekly starter. I think he's going to live in that running back 2 range. You mentioned it, John. It might take him a little bit longer, right, to get onto the field. Maybe it takes him a half season instead of week 1 being able to ball out. We know being patient at the running back position here, even for half a season, can be very, very beneficial here. So I'm not going to pivot off of Kyren Williams if he's not putting up running back 1 weeks right off the bat, like Najee Harris, for example, right?
Oh, yeah.
In terms of ADP, early round 2 for fantasy football drafts, I'm seeing that go really consistently. Kyren Williams is that guy that folks just can't bring themselves to draft in the first round, but that is going to be such a good value in the early second round. And my exposure, John, sky high. I'm going to have to hold myself back from not having 100% exposure because I am going to soak him up in the early to mid second round. I'm going to trade up at the top of the second round when he's still there. I'm going to get as much Kyren Williams as possible because I am very high on this guy. John, just like I know the listeners are very high on the draft series, the draft profile series here. You're going to want to make sure whether you're listening or watching that you're subscribed so that you check out all of the episodes here. We've got a lot of episodes done, John, but a whole heck of a lot of profiles to go. As always, we appreciate